Welcome everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you the best way to gear up in the first few weeks of patch 9.1 so you can have your character ready to go for Raid and Mythic Plus. Virtually every gearing source has changed going into this patch, and those changes have a significant impact on how you want to spend your time gearing. I'm not only going to walk you through each of these changes, but also show you the most efficient path to maximize the chances of getting the pieces you need in the slots where you need them. First and foremost, let's talk about the four main sources of gear and how they've changed in 9.1. When Shadowlands Season 1 launched, PvP gear was a great way to supplement your low item level pieces with targeted conquest items. If you are really good at PvP, then this will still be a great source for you. However, PvP gear item level is now lower in PvE than it was in 9.0. For example, in 9.0, a rating of 1600 got you gear equivalent to heroic raid gear, whereas now you need 1800 for heroic level gear. While PvP gear can still be a decent way to gear up if you can get your rating high enough, it isn't as strong as it was in 9.0, especially if you're playing a spec that wants to avoid versatility. Mythic Plus gear, however, is far better than it was at the start of 9.0. With the introduction of the Valor system, you can now upgrade your Mythic Plus gear above heroic raid gear if you get the Season 2 Keystone Master achievement. This achievement has changed going into 9.1. It no longer requires you to time all plus 15 keys. Instead, you have to get a combined dungeon score of 2000. This in-game Blizzard supported score functions a lot like Raider.io score, but you now get points for both fortified and tyrannical dungeons. Because of this, it's going to be much harder to get in 1 week and will most likely take the majority of us several weeks to obtain. This is why it's going to be important to push score week 1. The third source of gear is Raid. I'm not going to talk too much about raid gear because it's not repeatable and it's relatively straightforward. All you can really do is kill bosses and cross your fingers. However, with the new domination gear, it's going to be worth running raid at lower difficulty levels to fill in all 5 of your domination pieces. The last source of gear, and probably the most important, is the vault. At the end of 9.0, I looked at my gear and realized 11 out of my 16 gear slots were vault items. Knowing how to populate your vault and which items are worth picking up from your vault plays a huge role in long-term best-in-slot gearing. Having more vault options is even more important in 9.1 since the number of reserved gear slots is going from 1 to 6. This means that for any given non-domination gear piece in your vault, it's 6 times more likely that you cannot equip that piece. With that being said, let's jump right into what I believe the optimal gearing strategy is week 1. For the first week of Mythic Plus Season 2, there are 2 high priority things I recommend doing. Priority number 1 is unlocking as many vault options as you can with the highest item level you can. Ideally, this means running 10 plus 15 keys, giving you 3 252 options in your vault. Remember that you can no longer do a plus 14 for maximum vault rewards. I realize not everyone has the time to do this, so figure out what works best for you, but populating your vault should be your highest priority week 1. I've heard several people say they want to spam plus 10s to get end of dungeon 229 loot, but I recommend against doing this if it comes at the cost of getting your max vault options. I say this for 3 reasons. First, while 229 gear might look enticing, it's mostly throwaway gear that you won't use for very long. At the start of the season, Valor is a very limited resource that you won't be able to spend on every piece you get. You want to hold out on spending Valor on Mythic Plus loot until week 2, once the end of dungeon item level cap goes from 229 to 236. This will allow you to spend less Valor to fully upgrade a piece, which will let you upgrade more pieces of gear. The second reason you don't want to just spam plus 10s is that to upgrade your Mythic Plus gear to max level, you need to get a combined dungeon score of 2000. This will take several weeks to achieve, so you want to get started now to give yourself the easiest upgrade path. And third, spamming low-level keys was more of a BFA thing that was efficient because of Titan Forging and corruption. With the removal of those systems, spamming low-level keys just isn't all that valuable. Bottom line, unless you're a fresh reroll level 60 character that needs the 229 gear, try to focus on your vault and dungeon score week 1. So now that you've maximized your vault options week 1, how should you pick which items you take from the vault? My recommendation to maximize long-term gearing is to focus on the best pieces that are the hardest to obtain. For example, if one of your 252 Mythic Plus options is a best-in-slot non-domination slot item, it's probably worth taking over anything else simply because it's very rare that a BIS item shows up in your vault. Plus, you'll keep running raid over and over, so in theory, it should be much easier to get the domination pieces you need. And as your raid team steps into higher difficulties, you'll also be able to get those domination pieces at a higher item level. If your Mythic Plus or PvP options aren't perfect, then pick up any raid domination pieces you can until you have all 5, and especially if you can complete a set of 3. Finally, take the largest numerical upgrade you can in a slot that you don't think you'll upgrade for a while. Another way to maximize the value of your vault is to not pick your item day 1 and wait until the end of the week. This works especially well if your 2 best vault options are from raid. If you get 1 drop from raid, pick up the other piece from your vault before the weekly reset. 2 final tips for gearing. If you're an intellect user, there's an over budget Korthia trinket right now called Tome of Insight. If you get lucky enough to see this drop or get it from a quest, it's a great item to spend your research on before stepping into raid. If you didn't know how good this item was and accidentally sold it, you can get it back using Blizzard's Item Restore feature. The second tip is with Tier 4 research, crafters can now boost items to 230. So as you're gearing up, you can fill in one of your weaker slots with a 230 item level crafted piece. These items are unique, so you can only wear 1 crafted item at a time. So to summarize, the 3 most important things to do first week of Season 2 are maximize the number and quality of items in your vault, get your dungeon score as high as you can, and run the raid on as many difficulties as you can to try and get domination pieces. If you have any questions about any of this, or have gearing tips you want to share, please don't hesitate to hit me up in the comments below, or catch me on stream on YouTube or Twitch. Good luck gearing this season, and I'll see you next time.